to a brand new episode of Coming Distractions brought to you by the Nerdpocalypse podcast. I'm your host, Jay. Okay, guys, let's talk about Ad Astra. This is Brad Pitt's latest film, directed by indie darling director James Gray. The general premise of this movie is there are sort of these electrical power surges coming and hitting the Earth and causing massive damage. They're coming from space, and they're suspected to be the results of a sort of failed, far-reaching exploration into intelligent life in space called Project Lima 16 years earlier. That original project was headed by Clifford McBride, played by Tommy Lee Jones, who just happens to be Brad Pitt's father in the movie. He's gone missing, and his whole crew, 16 years ago, after they basically reached Neptune. And so now the government brings Roy McBride in, played by Brad Pitt, who's this astronaut, and they bring him in because he was on this massive satellite, antenna, the space antenna, when one of these surges hit and he was knocked off of it. This is this is like hard sci-fi some time into the future. But he stayed very calm. Like, that's his whole character, is that he just doesn't get rattled, right? And I'll speak to part of why that is without spoiling it. But he gets brought in because they think perhaps his father, who was thought to be dead, may actually be alive. So they're like, look, we need you to go to the moon, and then go to the moon and then go to Mars to try to send a message out to your father, and hopefully your connection to your father can maybe get him to respond, and we can figure out what's going on. This movie lies somewhere for me in between Interstellar and Contact. I mean that from the perspective of like the hard sci-fi aspects of Interstellar, which were really impressive, I thought, and just interesting and sort of pushing the envelope of like what sci-fi is meant to look like, in the modern era. Also, it's shot amazingly. It just looks incredible. It's got a lot of super indie feel to it. And then the context side of it is because at the core of the film, it's about what one guy, Pitt's character, what he will do, what ends will he go to sort of reconnect with his father, which plays a major role in the type of person that he is. So, and I don't mean that like that it focuses solely on that and there's barely any time in space or any of the cool sci-fi stuff that you're looking for. No, it's all of that. All of that is there. But that single thread of his relationship with his father is a major aspect of who his character is and why he's doing what he's doing. And it is just a series of events from the time he survives that fall off of a space antenna. From that moment on, it is just a series of events of him trying to get to his father through going to the moon and then going to Mars. Like you see in the trailer, there's like a shootout on the moon, and it's like there's all these things, and it's just how far will one man go to fix this relationship, to make this final connection, because he hasn't seen his father since he was very young. He hasn't talked to his father since he was very young. So the film, to put it lightly, is fantastic. Like it really is quite good. It proves that Brad Pitt is just not just a pretty face. That dude is a serious actor. Yes, this is definitely going for Oscar nomination in every sense of the word, and it absolutely will be in contention, I'm sure, for Best Picture and Best Actor for Pitt, and probably Best Director for James Gray. It's excellent. Tommy Lee Jones is also great in it as a supporting character. It's really fantastic. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was visually as impressive as Interstellar. Also, I would put it up there visually with last year's The First Man, which I thoroughly enjoyed. More of these type of hard sci-fi films I will happily go see. It was a damn good movie as we're starting to sort of make that move out of the summer and into the fall, and we're starting to get sort of the Oscar baity films. This is a home run for me. I thought Ad Astra was great. For me, it's a 4.5 out of 5. I highly recommend it. Brad Pitt is he's the real deal. I know he's been sort of slowly but surely working on more serious films to really pull people away from just that like pretty boy sort of view of him over the years, and he absolutely nails it here. He is so good, and a lot of the movie is just on his back. Like, he carries it because he is the only character in huge swaths of the movie. It's just him. And yeah, I mean, I also failed to mention this, but it also has sort of a feel like Gravity did, right? Where it's just, there's some parts that feel dire and alone, and you're just really hard focused on that one character because they are it. It's just them and then the madness of space. And Pitt nails it. He really does. And James Gray did a really good job presenting it. So highly recommend Ad Astra, 4.5 out of 5. And I'll see you guys next time.
You're watching the Nerdpocalypse YouTube channel. Make sure you click that button to subscribe and check out our weekly podcast where we talk about movie, TV, news, tech, and weird stories from around the internet.